This is Daniel Reacts, where I'm reacting to the latest and greatest in video games every other Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. DTM here. I am super excited to go over episode 2 with you guys. It is the January update for Halo Infinite. That's what we are reacting to this week. I've been very excited for this video game, obviously, as a huge Halo fan. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. 343 obviously has promised us monthly updates for Halo Infinite, so I imagine I might have a few of these in the future coming up. So let's dive right into this January update. So one of the first things that kind of caught my eye, they are revamping many of their tools, which will optimize the game for every platform, including Xbox One, Series S and X, and PC. So I know a lot of the back-end stuff we don't really understand or we don't really see that often, but this just goes ahead and reaffirms yet again that this game is coming to Xbox One. I know a lot of people have a lot of hesitation because of Cyberpunk and are worried that maybe Halo Infinite will be held back by the Xbox One. I don't think that's the case, and we've made the case many times before on my podcast PXN as well, that the game, there's plenty of examples out there of games that have great backwards compatibility and have great Xbox One versions and still have really great Xbox Series X versions. And I feel like Gears 5 is a great example of that. It launched on Xbox One, but the Series X version of Gears 5 is amazing. It looks visually stunning. So I feel like we gotta think about expectations differently, but we also have to think, hey, they can make this still really good on Xbox One. It's still going to be good on Xbox One. Don't worry about that. The next thing that they kind of went into, weapons will apparently feature some new damage types, which is very fascinating because traditionally Halo has always been plasma or projectile based weaponry. So essentially the Covenant weapons are plasma based. So you have plasma, which essentially takes down shields very easily. It takes down shields instantly with plasma based weapons, and then projectiles actually finish your kills quicker. So if you have someone with no shields, projectiles will do more damage than something that plasma would do. So very fascinated to see what other damage types we get in that regard. I really want to see, are we going to get fire damage type? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what other damage types they throw in there to kind of give us another twist on that classic Halo formula. But I love how they're kind of changing the game with that, because plasma, always back in the Halo 2 days, you would always have a SMG and plasma rifle combo. The reason is the plasma rifle would destroy the person's shields, the SMG would finish the job. Now, a lot of people who played professionally used the BR or whatnot, but when you played automatic rifle starts and such, like the SMG, you have that combo that is extremely deadly because of that reason. So it'll be interesting to see them further expand on that. Another thing they mentioned, that players will be able to fully rebind and remap controls. Now, this is a big thing as well, because I know a lot of people really wanted to remap and rebind their controls on Xbox console specifically, and they weren't able to. They had to stick to certain control schemes that 343 offered them. So this is another step of essentially giving the player full control over their gameplay and put whatever control feels best for them into the game, which is perfect. That's exactly what people want. And that will obviously translate to PC as well, as we see Master Chief Collection has that already for Master Chief Collection on PC. So yeah, very good news on that front as well. They are in terms of PC, they have talked about how they have a dedicated team that is making sure PC controls feel best in class. Again, very important to make sure that your game is running perfectly on PC with phenomenal controls, because every shooter out there has to have perfect controls on PC, or you will lose that PC audience. They are an audience that nitpicks at everything, and you have to have it right on the first go. So that's great that they have a dedicated team working on that. Another thing they're doing as well already, they're playing the sandbox launch content. So all of the weapons and vehicles and all of that kind of stuff that's in the Halo sandbox has already been put in the game and is being played daily. So all of that content is ready to go already. It's just getting polished up. So I know there's some visual updates that they still want to do that they talked about, that they're still trying to improve the visual fidelity and quality of the game, which that includes the visual quality for these sandbox items. And I believe they will continue to get there, and the sandbox content will look phenomenal. And I cannot wait to see more on that as well, to see what that extra polish does for Halo Infinite for the extra year. The next thing, they kept teasing a return of a fan favorite vehicle, which I super excited to see this, because I'm a huge fan of the Brute Chopper back in the day, because you would think the Brute Chopper, just by looking at it would perform just like any other single person vehicle, but it doesn't. It has a very powerful weapon attached to the front of it, as well as the maneuverability of it is really good, because you can turn the wheel almost 90 degrees completely to make your turn completely. It's such a game changer for multiplayer and campaign. I would love to see the return of the Brute Chopper, and I would not be surprised if it is returning, because obviously the Brutes have returned for Halo Infinite. So I would be super stoked to see that come back. There are some other possibilities as well. I know people talk about the Revenant from Halo Reach, or even the Spectre from Halo 2. I know that was a kind of a underrated vehicle, I guess you could call it, or the Brute Prowler as well, which was kind of the Warthog equivalent for the Brutes. That could be as well, but I'll be interested to see that. But another vehicle they were teasing as well, they were teasing a vehicle that sits between a Warthog and a Scorpion tank, which I don't know what that is, that sits somewhere in between the two, but they were talking about how awesome it is, and kind of teasing it in that regard. Maybe something, I don't know, with more armor than what the Warthog has, but not quite the weaponry that the tank has, because that might be a little bit OP. I think that would be very interesting, and see how that kind of fits into the sandbox, especially in multiplayer in that regard. So very excited to see where that goes. The last thing I wanted to talk about, they were teasing a highly physics-based equipment item, which I think is very fascinating. Obviously, they've already shown off a couple of equipment items. They've shown off the grapple, which we've seen, and obviously we know what the grapple does. It pulls enemies, it pulls items, it can pull Chief up to high places and stuff like that. But they've also announced the drop wall, I think is what it's called, where it catches bullets. It's essentially a shield, but you can shoot out of it still, which is very cool. And they also, I feel like those two are very different, and something like that would be a physics-based equipment item would be very different than those two. And it kind of gave me the idea of, like, think like the power drainer from Halo 3, where it's draining the power of the Spartans. Instead of that, have something you throw out that it kind of it pulls people into it, like almost like forcibly moving people towards this item and then shooting them into the air. I think that would be kind of crazy. Not a crazy like distance in the air or anything, because that would be a little bit insane, but like pulling them in and like shooting them up like a couple of feet or something, or 5 feet or something like that, I think would be very fascinating. It might change, it might change the dynamics of a fight if you're going in and you're facing like 3v1 or 2v1 or something like that in a multiplayer match, you can use that item, throw them up in the air, and you actually have a shot to finish the deal 2v1. So there's a lot of very interesting things kind of going around in my head on that one. So I think that would be very cool. Let me know what you guys think we're going to see from those things. What fan favorite vehicles do you guys want to see, and what highly physics-based equipment item do you have popping in your head from that? Put it in the comments below. I'm very interested to see what you guys think. But I think that does it for me this week, guys. I appreciate you guys keeping an eye on the Daniel React series. I appreciate it every other week. So 2 weeks from today, we will have another one out. And like, subscribe, and share this video. I really appreciate the support, and see you guys next time.